What's going on? It's your boy Icy Jones. We live with another hot seat with Icy Jones on this good Thursday at 4. Every Thursday, I need y'all to tune in, tap in, because you never know who might be in the hot seat with Icy Jones. You feel me? And you already know I always have my big bro in the building. You already know, man, Deacon T's Hot Topics. I wonder what he talking about today. We're going to find out. I think he on fire with it, man. And make sure that you check him out every Sunday over there on Deacon Tom Moore's page. Also, hit the like page as well. So, Modern Word Ministries, you already know what it is, man. We going up in a major way. I'm excited. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of things are going on with me, man. Trapping this talent. Triple T Clothing, shout out to Ronnie, man. We got a song popping for his clothing line. This dude is the cut and sew king. He just made a backpack from scratch like that. You feel me? So I'm like, yo, that's popping. Also, shout out Gene Buck. We did a song together called Trapping His Talent. It will be released soon. Shout out to T Jones. You know, y'all heard the song, but we dropped the video. Won't he do it? Also, Matthew Balling out there in Sacramento, man. We dropped another COVID-19 song. The video is out. Check that out. And tomorrow, I'm releasing another song I'm featured on with my boy Zone 3. It's called Prayer Request. Check it out. You feel me? And the video will be coming soon. Man, a lot of good things have been going on. I'm not going to keep going on and on and on. Just follow your boy on all social media platforms. That is ICJONEZ. On Facebook, they made me put the period, so it's I.C.JONEZ. But everywhere else, it's just straight ICJONEZ. All right? Today, though, I got one of my other big homies in the building.
What's up?
We got Jeff. How you say your last name? I never said it.
Bleknap.
Bleknap.
That's
so
right.
It's not Bleknap.
Nope. K silent. Unless you say cannot and cano, then you can say it.
Knife. Cano.
That's right, knife.
Bleknap.
That's right.
What's happening, man?
Doing good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good to see you.
You as well, brother. So you got a sign in front of you that say, "We buy ugly houses."
That's us, man.
What is that about?
So, the market is, kind of getting a little shaky here with a lot of the home buying.
Oh,
So,
straight into the mic.
We're the guys that step up when people are in bad shape and in a position to potentially lose their homes.
So they don't have to be in foreclosure.
No.
Okay.
No.
But they are in bad shape, or they just want to get rid of it. Don't want to go through the rigmarole.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is if you use a realtor, you're going to pay commission to the realtor. You're also going to, be in contract from anywhere from 30 to 60, sometimes 90 days, depending on how long it takes for the transaction to go through. We basically can cash you out in 5 to 10 days.
Wow.
So it's not always the person that has the terrible looking house. Sometimes it's the guy that just wants to get some cash and just move on.
Righteous. Now, Jeff, how long have you been in real estate?
So I was a dry cleaner for 20-something years.
Dry cleaner.
Talk
about it.
Which is really good business. I mean, the profit margin's great. A lot of work. A lot of getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and working all day, getting home tired.
Wow.
And I loved it, though. I had some really good accounts in town.
Okay.
And I had some really good clients. And just, still friends, people that I actually befriended.
Okay.
And there's nothing more personal than being with someone's clothes, that's what they wear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I built a lot of good relationships in that business. I was in my mid-40s thinking, man, what am I going to do? Is this going to be it? So I decided to get into real estate, and I actually took a major step backwards. I just took a job managing an office of real estate agents, and I kind of brought everything that I did in business to that branch in real estate.
Right.
And ironically, they were paying me some pretty decent money to actually learn the real estate business.
Okay.
So I basically just took a lot of notes, figured out, how to make, this whole deal work with, how to buy houses that are going through foreclosure, how to buy a short sale. If somebody's having or struggling buying a home, how can I help them? How do I help them out of that situation?
Wait, rewind. You said this company paid you to learn?
Well, I mean,
so to speak.
If you're smart,
Yeah.
every company that you go to work for is paying you to learn.
Okay.
So if you're,
Yeah.
some of the young cats out there that are out there and they're working fast food or they're, just working at a restaurant or whatnot, you're being taught how to own a restaurant.
Okay.
So if you want to take the time to learn exactly what happens and exactly what it takes to be a restaurateur,
Right.
then you can do that working at McDonald's.
Right.
You just got to go in there with the mindset of who am I buying my supplies from?
Yes.
What are their budgets? Looking at how much the store makes. Actually, open your eyes just a little bit.
Right.
And
Right.
every single job you ever have will teach you how to do that job.
Yeah, that's real. And I always like to take like the big old notebooks that they give us home that explains everything.
Oh,
in
dude.
it. So,
It's funny. My wife used to laugh at me because I have a stack of about 30, 40 manuals
yes.
that I've kept over every single job.
Yes.
And I figured, hey, what day am I write a manual?
Right.
So I want to know how to do this. So.
Right. And I mean, in those manuals, man, they have everything from A to Z about their company.
Absolutely.
And so basically, they just gave you the game if you need it, right?
And you know what? If you think about it that way, if you think about it like these people are teaching me how to be their competition, you'd be successful.
Got
The
it.
problem is the mindset of a lot of employees is they just come in there, they clock in, they get their check, and they go home.
And they go home.
And the reality is, if you look at it like, I want to be the best at what I'm doing, I want to grow through this, and then I want to be a cook. I'm going to go from a cook to a chef. I'm going to go from a chef to owning my own restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the step you got to take. And
It's
honestly,
a mindset, though.
every single business is that way.
Yeah.
If you advertised and had a little competition with all these people that own businesses, I guarantee most of them started as employees.
Oh, for sure. For sure. A huge percentage. Right?
That's right.
So tell me about Jeff. Where did you grow up at, bro?
So I grew up in Detroit, Michigan,
Oh, you from the D.
from the D.
Look at him, Midwest.
Yep. I love Michigan.
Okay.
But I don't love the winters.
Right, right.
So I went to high school out there, and then decided that I wanted to do something a little bit greater. And one day, it was in the middle of May. I was going to college out there, and I walked in, and took some tests. Came out, there was 8 inches of snow in my car in May,
Yeah.
and I was like, I think I'm done. So there was really nothing else keeping me there.
Okay.
And I just packed up my car and drove to Vegas.
Wow. So this was the first stop.
First
and
stop.
then the last one.
Yeah, my parents visited Vegas a lot when I was a
Oh,
kid.
okay.
So I kind of had an idea what I was getting myself into.
Right.
And I did love Las Vegas, man.
I don't know how old you are, but when you did that, did they have Google?
No.
Okay. So
No.
you didn't know
No, that was
what
before Google. As a matter of fact, they didn't have internet when I did that.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm
not
like,
even dial-up.
You wouldn't, you don't know how much the houses are, the market, or anything. You just
No.
knew from visiting a few times. though.
No, I knew that Vegas
no
was
snow.
I know there was no snow. Yeah, that was fact. Well, actually, the thing I like about Vegas is you can drive to the snow
Yeah.
and then drive home
Absolutely.
and just leave it up there.
Mount Charleston.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but I knew that there was jobs, and I knew Vegas was building. And when I first got here,
What year was that?
1990.
90.
I just celebrated my 30-year anniversary a couple months ago.
Hey.
So, the first job I got was $6 an hour,
Okay.
and that was a good job
Yeah.
at the time.
In 1990.
But back in the day, there was so many jobs and so few people that you could actually be like, oh, this guy's going to give me $650, and then I need to make at least $7. Okay, well, this guy's giving me $750.
Got it.
So you could actually negotiate.
Negotiate.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's changed a lot since then. And I worked in the hotel industry for several years, and I realized that I was just a number to them.
Okay.
And I realized that it was funny because I had a job working at Mystere, which is on the Strip,
Yeah.
great job,
Yeah,
making some good coin.
Okay.
And my boss said to me one day, there's 200 people waiting for your job, and that really hit me.
Dang.
In a way where I was like, wow, so you don't really care what I think, you have 200 people waiting for me.
Right.
So I left shortly after that, and then I realized that. If you really want to make it anywhere, man, it's on you. It's not really going to be, you can't put there's circumstances that might hold you back, but it's really your mindset's what's going to change everything.
Opportunity and preparation.
That's right.
Success. So, were you raised in a 2-parent household,
I was
and you had a good relationship with both of them?
with both. Well, my mom not so much, but I love her now. Put it that way. She was a little rough. She was the the snatch you up in the store like with the belt type of mom, but I love her, and she's a sweetheart. I mean, we have a great relationship now.
And Pops, Pops good?
Me and Pops are good. My dad was in the military, so I grew up in a military family where if you didn't wipe the sink exactly the way you were supposed to, then you could be risking some mess.
It'd be a wrap.
No, yeah.
Okay, so growing up in Detroit, I'm hearing that it's just like almost like a baby Chicago. Is that true for you growing up in the 80s?
Yeah, I mean, it was very different. Like when I first moved to Las Vegas, I didn't realize Detroit's very segregated.
Okay.
And not only between black and white, but between like Polish people and Arab people and everything. But they just don't intertwine. You know, they have their own neighborhoods. They stay in their own neighborhoods. Everything's good. And when I first got to Vegas, it wasn't like that. So I was like, wait a second, this is like different.
Right, right.
And so I could see a lot of issues.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I was taken out of that element until I really realized that, hey, there's some like serious issues.
Right.
And then you've met my wife,
yes.
obviously, so
Yes.
I'm married interracially.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
my family's always been that type of family, and we've always been strong with that. And
yeah,
but
that's good. But did anybody try to fight you or put you on like this Joy Road or this 8 Mile, like, or were you raised in those areas?
Okay, hold up. So I wasn't raised in 8 Mile,
okay.
But I did on several occasions find myself at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
And I remember one time.
Yeah.
It was right after the Pistons had won the championship, one of the championships, and we were just downtown partying. And the next thing I know, one of my boys bumped into somebody.
Oh.
And he turned and was like, "What's up?" And then they turned, like 50 people turned. And I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to end well."
Yeah, man.
So to say the least, about 7 or 8 blocks later, I like caught my breath, had no idea where I was.
But you got
away. But I got away. But that was good. And I made it home that day. So
100, man.
Yep.
So when it comes to 1990, right? What you said, you went right into dry cleaning, or what did you do first when you got to Vegas?
So when I first got to Vegas, I started working in casinos. Okay. I did that for a while. Opened Excalibur. Went from there. Opened Treasure Island.
Right.
It was definitely a good experience, working in the hotels. I did a little pawn shop business. I was working 2 jobs, going to UNLV.
Okay.
And worked in the pawn shop. That was good, great experience. Kind of taught me how to be a businessman.
Okay.
Helped a guy, open several different shops in town. And actually, it's the way that I was able to raise the money to be a dry cleaner.
Okay.
I got in there, and the guy was matching me 401k. And if anyone's like gets 401k and someone says match, you do what they match.
Yeah.
So if they say we'll match you 5, you do 5. If they say 10, you do 10.
Yeah.
And my particular guy said he matched me 15%.
Wow. So
I put 15% in. That's 30% of my money being saved.
Yes.
So that escalated some cash really quickly for me.
Yes.
And I was a finance major at UNLV, so I kind of knew the ins and outs and what it would take.
Finance major.
Yeah.
How was school for you?
School was good. I didn't finish, man.
Yeah.
I quit.
Right.
And I still regret it.
Okay.
But when you start making money, sometimes your goals and end goal change.
They do.
And I was in my mid-20s making 6 figures, and
right.
just
like, I don't need a degree
yeah,
anymore.
I'm good. Yeah.
This is what I was going to school for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that. But you don't tell no one not to go to college, or you don't despise that or anything.
Well, I mean, I honestly, my personal opinion about college right now is that it's a slippery slope.
Okay.
Because, a lot of people, they go to college for something, then they realize that's not what they want, and they basically just wasted 4 years of their life and put themselves in $100,000 in debt. I encourage people personally to go into trades.
Okay.
Like when I'm talking to young folks,
school,
I tell them, hey man, go be an HVAC tech, go be a nurse, go learn how to draw blood, go, learn how to do that stuff, because you leave that school and you're going right into a job where you're going to be making $30,000 to $50,000 a year.
Right.
HV tech can turn into owning an HV company.
Right.
So it's all about the mindset. I mean, will college help you? Yes.
Right.
If you go and major in business.
Right.
Yes, I encourage you to go major in business.
But it still puts you in debt.
Going to put you in debt.
Okay. Now, after 25 years, you said, in dry cleaning?
Yep.
Then what happened?
So I just kind of got to a point where I was, just, man, I want to do something else. I always, all of us watch HGTV, right?
Yeah.
All of us were like, oh, man, look at this. They went into that crappy house and look at this big, beautiful house they just built,
Right.
All of us have the dream to do that. So I knew I wanted to get into real estate. I didn't really know how. I didn't know whether I wanted to get my license or not, my real estate license.
So you did have a vision of going to real estate?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I always kind of felt like that's something that I wanted to do. I mean, if I'm a guy that looks at people's lives and sees what do they have and where would I want to set myself.
Yeah.
And the reality is that the most millionaires come out of real estate. That's a reality. I mean, if you look at it, the most billionaires come out of some sort of real estate. They at least own real estate.
That's what I heard. That's what I read.
So the concept is not to be a millionaire or a billionaire, but actually get into where you just live a good life.
Okay.
And
financially stable.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily like everyone thinks everything's about the money. It's really not. It's about getting to a place where you can do what you want to do with your life. And how can you do that? How quickly can you make that happen?
Right.
Like here I am, pushing my 50s, and I'm thinking, I should be better off than I am now. And not that I have any regrets, man. I had a good time. I had some really good years. I married late. In my life, and I had a lot of fun, in the time that I wasn't, some of the people that I know, so know that I was, I was running the streets or whatever.
Right. So,
all that being said, I knew that I wanted to do something else. I had an opportunity to get into real estate.
Okay.
It wasn't what I wanted. They offered me a job just working as a transaction coordinator, which basically is the one that sits at the desk and makes sure all the transaction gets done. Not a fun job at all.
You got to coordinate.
Yeah. and I'm more the guy that likes to talk and to do all that. And so now I got to sit there and organize.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I definitely had to organize stuff.
Okay.
So I went in and started doing that. And then, I talked my partners at the time. We were able to get a couple of, pretty decent financial backers. And I just basically said, hey, man, let's start buying houses and flipping them.
Wow.
And they co-signed on the deal. We started doing transactions. And that, job lasted for about 2.5 years. We went back to Detroit, bought a bunch of properties, flipped neighborhoods. And, I'm still all about the D. I love Detroit.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of work that I'd like to do. I mean, I'd love for somebody that's hearing me talk right now to actually, believe in a vision. But, I'd like to flip a neighborhood.
Okay.
I'd like to take a neighborhood. I'd like to teach people how to own homes.
Okay.
One of the things that breaks my heart about Detroit is that there's only 13% home ownership.
Wow.
Which basically means 87% of people rent.
Renting.
Now, imagine this. They're renting a house that they could buy for $40,000, and they're renting it for $800 a month.
$800 a month. Wow.
You see what I mean?
Sorry. Do you know the percentage in Vegas?
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. I mean, that's hometown, so that's why you know
Yeah.
what's up, right? Wow, 13%.
13%.
Okay.
And to me, a lot of it is just education. People
Yeah.
just don't know how to do it.
Right.
And unfortunately, all of us, this is just, people across the board, we do what our parents do.
Yes.
So if our parents raise you up and they say you got to buy a house in, you get married in, you have 2 kids in, you go to college in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you just do that.
You do it.
But if there's not that stability where someone's kind of, giving you that advice and that system,
Yeah.
then you just kind of do it on your own.
Right.
And it takes people to step out. It takes people like, you and I. We had discussed this before
Right.
about going in and educating people on how to do stuff.
Absolutely. So, right now, I'll say we have about 20 more minutes left to talk to you, right?
Okay?
What kind of game you want to give to people out there right now? Let's talk about either home ownership or flipping some houses. Let's get it, Jeff.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Give them some gems, man.
All right, here we go. So, the flipping business is a little tough business to get into unless you have some capital.
Correct.
There's a lot of guys out there that give you the, hey, here's your system, use other people's money, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All of it sounds great. And you know what? You might be able to do it in a couple of scenarios.
OPM.
Yeah. The reality is that you really need to immerse yourself.
Okay.
You know, like if you wanted to learn Spanish, right? You could probably learn off an app, or you could probably learn, you know, from a book or maybe whatever. But emerging yourself into Spanish is what's going to actually do it.
Got it.
If you move to Mexico, you're going to learn a lot faster.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah.
So my point is you got to get yourself into it. A lot of people want to get into home ownership and want to do all this, and they just want it just to snap their fingers and happen. Yeah. The reality is that you're paying more renting.
Okay.
That's the reality.
Right, of course.
The issue is that you have to have at least that initial down money, and that's where the education comes in. Like, how do you get at that initial money? How do you save enough money from your paycheck?
Right.
And I think there's a misconception that you can't save money if you make minimum wage. It's absolutely untrue.
Okay.
It's untrue.
Now, when you talk about having a down payment, right? Let's say their credit is shot.
Yes.
Does the down payment even matter? Because it's going to get bigger. The down
Yeah,
payment.
well, you got to have good credit, man, and you and I have talked about this as well.
Yes.
A lot of people they overlook the importance of credit, and the reality is, I did.
Okay.
You know, I owned a business for 25 years, and I grew up in a different age where my dad said, if you can't afford it, just don't buy it. You know, don't even bother with it.
Yeah.
Well, that was bad advice.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, what we should be doing is we should be using other people's money. So the reality, if you really look at a way a credit card works, so let me just give you a short little deal about a credit card.
Okay.
Okay, so basically you can use a credit card money from the day your statement cuts for 20 days for free.
That's game right there.
Did you know that?
No.
Okay. So the key thing is for you to pay the card off before they settle it, because as soon as they settle it, they're going to actually kick the interest in. So if you can use it from day 1 to day 19-ish, pay the card off correctly, and then just keep doing that every single month, and basically you're using that money. Now, in order to do that, you have to be very disciplined, because you're going to have the money to pay that off.
Right. So now what?
So if you continue to do that, though, and you continue to kind of play their game, they're playing a game with us, with our credit. We need to understand the game and then use that game against them.
Understand the game and then use it against them.
That's right.
Okay. So now, what about the flipping? Like, how do I get involved with an investor and say, hey, bro, I got like 20 racks. Like 15 racks. Would you like to go? How does that conversation even spark? Do I just call Realty One and be like, I want to talk to somebody, or do I call that 800-44 buyer and talk to somebody?
No, don't call this number. Call my number directly, and I'll give you my number before we get off.
Right.
But basically, what you have to do is you have to find somebody in the game that's already in the game.
Right.
Somebody is willing to be a mentor to you and just kind of teach you. I mentor guys in Las Vegas. I mentor guys in Detroit. There's a young guy that I'm working with right now. We're trying to do a deal in Dallas, and he's flipping out because he got the property, he has no buyer. So wow. I call people I know that have cash, and now we're trying to just put the whole deal together.
Put it together.
And usually, I'll make minimal. Like I am going to get paid for connecting dots. I mean, that's what people call me. I'm the dot connector, right? But I'll take a smaller percentage where I'll let the other person make the bigger percentage.
Got it.
Because basically I want that person to be in a spot where they can actually do some deals. They can bring me more deals, and then we can actually do some further business.
And that's how you keep winning, by paying it forward.
That's right.
Right? So now, how long has it been that you've been in the real estate, including the 2 years that you were doing the office work?
Yeah, so it's about, I'm going on about 3.5 now.
Okay.
And crazy, the way that everything works, I mean, it's kind of frustrating and crazy, but I actually went to take my real estate exam, and I failed,
Okay.
And first of all, for people that want to get into business, want to get into real estate, want to do all this stuff that they're doing, failure is part of this deal.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to fail, and that's why they don't start. But I met the guy one time that started the stuff where you clean your outside headlight.
Okay.
The little kits where you spray the thing and you cleaned up. This guy created the kit.
Okay.
So how much money do you think this guy's worth?
I don't know, but that was selling everywhere.
He told me that they've sold almost 100 million kits.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my little John voice.
So I'm sitting here talking to this dude, and this dude rolled up in like one of those old school caddies with the big gold grills.
Okay.
You know, the old school with the spinners and everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, look at this dude. You
Right,
know, like
right.
what's up with this guy?
Right.
You know, his wife's wearing some Yves Saint Laurent. You know,
Okay.
just come rolling in. You know.
Yeah.
So I start talking to him. Like when I see people like that,
Okay.
if they're willing to talk to me, I'm talking to them.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I said, hey, what do you do? You know, and he told me that. You know, and I said, so what advice would you have? You know, for somebody, you know, wanting to start a business. He said, start. I said, that's it? He said, yeah. He said, all of us have good ideas. The problem is that most of us don't start.
Don't start.
We just kind of sit back and we just don't ever do anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I always just took that to heart. And when I talk to people that are younger than me and people that, you know, are leaning on me or that I do a little consultation business.
Yes.
That's how we met, by the way.
Yes.
You know, I just tell people that's what you got to do.
Right. It's crazy, bro, because I know someone, we were talking back in like 2007, 2008, 9, 10, and I'm a visionary, you know, but I also like to work with executioners, people who going to make it happen, right? Man, tell me why in 2020 he's still talking about the same stuff that he was going to do back then and he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah.
It just hit me like, bro, what the heck are you waiting for? Just start. Do something. Print a shirt. Do something. Make a flyer, anything.
Hey, do you want me to tell you a quick story to make you kind of like, you're probably going to slap your forehead right now when I tell you this.
I'm ready, bro.
Okay, so back in the late 1990s, I was working in the pawn business, and that was when all the paycheck places first came out, and the company that I worked for was one of the very first paycheck places in
The loan places?
loan places.
Okay.
Yeah, it was literally one of the very first ones in Las Vegas. The company I was working for.
Righteous.
So I sat down with the owners of the company and I said, this is what we need to do. We need to set it up where people can go online, because this is when internet was like first starting to go live, right? Where people can go online, fill out an application, and we send them their money, and they never even have to come into the store.
Wow.
Do you know when that finally happened?
No.
2020.
What?
Dollar Loan Center just introduced it.
Wow.
The first company to do it, 22 years later.
Wow.
Now I think back, like what if my guys would have listened to that? Where would I have been right now?
Like Jeff Bezos?
You see what I mean?
I do.
And it was because I didn't push.
Yeah.
But it was also because of distractions.
Of course.
And the problem, especially with the young guys, you know, I'm speaking to the young guys right now, is we get distracted really easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we see the females, and I'm not dogging females. I
Right.
love the ladies, you know.
Right.
But the females are distractions sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and we have to make sure that, you know, we kind of categorize what's our importance and put our priorities in the right place.
Priorities in the right place, man. So let's talk about moving forward in real estate, right? 800-44 buyer. We
Yep.
buy ugly houses.
Yep.
Okay. Why? Because don't you got to put so much money into this house to refurbish it?
Yep.
So how?
So I'm going to tell you the good and the bad of what we do.
Okay.
So a lot of the people that see what we do they kind of dog us out. Like I've run ads on Facebook and Instagram and all that, and I read the comments and I'm like, oh my gosh, these people are just dogging me out, right? But the reality is they think that I'm just stealing people's houses. Okay. And here's a misconception. So I buy a house for $100,000, right? That needs $40,000 worth of work, right? And then I turn around and sell it for $200,000. A lot of people don't even see the fact of all the middle stuff that happens. They see $100,000 and they see $200,000, and they're like, "Wow, man, you ripped that guy off," right? They didn't realize it took me 4 months to fix that guy's house. I just spent $40,000 out of my pocket to fix it. Then I had to pay the bank, I had to pay the real estate agent, I had to pay all the commissions, all the miscellaneous stuff, and I might walk away with a 10% profit.
Correct. Also, that person that sold the house did not have $40,000 to refurbish that home.
At all.
So that
very rarely or never, the house would have just continued to go downwards. And what it does ultimately is the neighborhoods we work in are, you know, usually neighborhoods that have been around for a while. So the houses that are built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So that's 89107, you know, 89108, which is 95 in Jones, like pretty much the whole 95 corridor, North Las Vegas.
106, 030.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So those are the neighborhoods we're hitting. And what people don't realize is when we do a house and we're selling that house for 200, 220, the whole value of the whole neighborhood just went up.
Yep.
Every time we do that, even for the guy who's letting his house go to crap, his house is going up.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we just sold a house, and we're like, every time we do it, we're stapling something in the community.
Right.
So no one looks at that. No one looks at what we're really doing to better these communities. They're only looking at the money that we're making, which we're business people.
Yeah, of course.
This is what we're trying to do.
There is a profit in that. You know what
Should
I mean?
be.
But yeah, but you're not ripping people off. People want to sell their house,
Right?
Because they want to get out of it. Like they've done too much to it, or they can't do anything with it, but at least they're about to get paid for it.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know what? And it's funny because a couple of different times, people have like tried to dog me out and said, "Hey, man, blah blah blah." So what I'll do is I'll list the pictures. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is the one I just bought. Look, I really ripped this dude off."
Yeah.
Like in like literally a house that I just went and picked up, waist high in junk.
Yeah.
Throughout the house.
Right.
I mean, is somebody going to pay retail for that house?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, it cost me just to get the junk out of there over $3,000.
Right. Absolutely. So, are you into purchasing investment properties all over America, just the West Coast? What we talking about here?
Well,
as far
I mean,
as you and your team.
And honestly, like this might be, if anyone that just wants to hear just this part about investing, the way that the investment works, there's a rule that's kind of like through the real estate, the higher ups in real estate, it's a 1% rule, which is basically if you buy a house, you should be able to rent it for 1%. So if you're going to buy a house for $100,000, you need to be able to rent it for $1,000.
Okay.
So unfortunately in Vegas, that's not happening. For an example, for that to happen, you'd have to buy a $200,000 house and rent it for $2,000.
Right.
That we just don't have houses that do that. The houses that rent for $2,000 sell for $350.
Right.
So it's kind of like a little upside down. So Vegas is not a good place to buy rentals.
Okay.
But however, in the Midwest,
Yeah.
you can get some really good deals.
Okay.
We buy houses in Kansas City. We buy in Jacksonville. We buy in Orlando. We buy in Tampa.
What about Ohio?
I haven't bought in Ohio, but I would.
Okay. Now, how do you buy if you're stationed in Vegas? How do you buy in Midwest?
It's risky.
Okay.
So basically what we do is we put houses under contract, and then we just ask for due diligence period.
Okay.
So we'll ask for a 5 to 7 day due diligence period. So we'll go, say we were going to go to KC and buy some houses. I'll put 7, 8, or 9 houses under contract, and then I'll fly out there.
Oh, got it.
And then I'll go through the houses, making sure they're legit, making sure I could get my money back out of them.
Yeah.
And then if they're not, I dump them. If they are, then we move forward.
Hey, listen, you listening to Hot Seat with Icy Jones. We have Jeff Bleknap in the building. What exactly is your title, though, when it comes to this industry?
Okay, so I'm a buyer. I'm actually a home buyer.
Okay.
That's my title.
Okay.
Some people call them acquisition managers. That's not my position, but in other companies, that's what it would be.
Okay.
I also do a lot of the strategies online. So if you go to our Facebook, BlackRock Flips, Facebook, all of our social media is BlackRock Flips, including our website, blackrockflips.com.
Okay.
You'll see the recent flips that we've done. You can click on the website on recent flips, and you'll see like what they look like and what they look like. You know what I mean? So it'll be like the before and afters. I love the before and afters.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like you see on HD TV.
Right.
You walk in there and the ceiling's falling down, and then the place looks brand new in 2020.
Knock down them walls and build them back up. So again, we have Jeff Bleknap in the building, a buyer. And you guys can call in if you got any other questions. 702-551-5261. 702-551-5261. Or you can go to Facebook and watch us live right now and comment any questions. So now, would you say it's hard to do stuff in Vegas because of that type of thing? Or you don't even do the rent, you just do the flip and sell?
Yeah, we just do the flips right now in Las Vegas, and the market is, unfortunately, I'm a fan of where I live. I'm a big fan of Detroit. I'm a local as far as I'm concerned in Vegas. I live here 30 years.
Yeah.
The last thing that I want to see is the market tank like it did before.
You're talking 2008 era?
Yeah.
Okay.
I took a pretty substantial shot during that time, and including my business and everything. Kind of was like my humbling, come to Jesus. And when people say what was your come to Jesus moment, mine was making some really good money, doing everything that I wanted to do, and then within 30 days living inside my van. And that was like where God said, "Oh, I got another plan."
And you have a wife.
I have a wife.
Is she in the industry or no?
My wife does hair.
She does hair.
She's very not interested in anything that I do. But it's funny because she'll look at the picture sometimes and be like, "Hey, baby, did a good job on that one," and be like, "Oh, thanks," But she does hair and she loves it. I mean, she's got her clients that she's had for years, and she's blessed. I mean, she's basically a therapist. For a lot of these women.
Yeah, because they get to talk and open up. So tell me, how did you meet this lovely lady of yours?
So my wife and I worked together when I first moved here.
Okay.
In 1990, and then we kind of, just really were like more or less like friends.
Okay.
She went her own way. She moved to Atlanta. I was doing my running the streets, doing the whole pool thing for my whole 20s, and
right.
I linked back up with her in my late 30s.
Wow.
And it was kind of ironic the way everything happened. My buddy had taken a picture of her.
Yeah.
And back in 1990, I saw the picture in like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And just was like, "Hey, what's up with her? I wonder what's going on with her,
Right.
And I hit her up and we went to dinner.
So you found her on Facebook?
Yeah.
Wow.
Linked her up on Facebook.
So if we didn't have Facebook, you probably wouldn't have found her.
I wouldn't have found her.
That's crazy.
But the craziest thing was I had seen her brother. She has a twin brother.
Okay.
And her cousin, which I both knew. And I asked her, I asked them, like, what's the deal? I haven't seen her. Yeah. And they were both like, yeah, whatever. They knew that maybe she didn't want to have anything to do with me, type of scenario.
Right.
But I was a
Quite
heathen.
the opposite,
I was a
though.
heathen. I was a heathen at the time.
So she ended up telling you she liked you. You guys went to dinner. How did you end up marrying?
No, so we went to dinner, and one day we were just out, and she said, what's your deal?
Okay.
And I said, I'm dating with the intent of finding a wife.
Okay.
I'd realized probably in my mid 30s that like if I was going to do the whole marriage wife thing, that it was a good time for me to get started.
Okay.
So I started really dating differently.
Yeah.
I started like looking at, it wasn't about just, just the standard relationships that we have. It was like I needed to be a little bit more serious about my relationships.
Yeah.
And she just came along at the right time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
And I knew that, that she was going to have my back. And, she's the daughter of a minister and a gospel singer. And, that the family background, the structure and everything was good. And that's, something I was looking for in a wife. So everything went very well.
So were you a believer before you met her?
No.
Hey.
Far from it, man. It's funny because she tells this story like she used to pray for my French fries, and I'd be like, "Babe, this is French fries. I don't need this, like I'm gonna eat these, And there was one time where she had I had an issue with my car, and she gave me a ride home, and she was playing some Christian music, and I reached over, tried to change the channel, pop, and she's like, "Blap," and she's like, "Not in my car."
Not in my car, homie.
She's like, "This is what we listen to in my car," and I'm like, "Okay, well, it's a short ride. I'm good,
Yeah.
But it was funny because when I had messaged her and I gave her my phone number to call me, and in my message it said "God bless" at the end, and she literally felt that it was like blasphemy, because she didn't realize what had happened and like the experience that I had with God, and He just got a hold of me, and He got a hold of me at a particular time in my life where I needed Him.
Yes.
And He's, I decided to make it where He's building me up instead.
Yes.
And I when I first started going to church, I tried to sway away, and He's kind of like, nope, slap,
Yeah.
So He kind of just put me where I needed to be, and He's kind of kept me on that path.
That's dope, man. That's really, really dope. So how do people get in contact with you?
So best way, just go on the BlackRock Flips Facebook page or Instagram or Twitter, any of them. I'll answer all those pages.
Okay.
Then go on the website if they want to check out our stuff. My phone number's on there, but it's 702-900-5615.
Okay.
That's 702-900-5615. I'm pretty much open to talk to people about anything. You and I met, doing some, you asked some questions about being in business and everything. I have a consulting business that I do as well.
Yes.
My main client just turned into these guys.
Yeah.
And then when I started they started seeing what I could do for them. They were like, look, man, just come work for us.
Come on the team, brother.
Yeah, so it's been a good fit.
Absolutely. So what I do on my show, I bring in Deacon T for Deacon T's Hot Topics for my last 10, 15-minute segment. So, Deacon T, I'm going to turn your mic on. Let me make sure I got the right mic. Where you at? Say something for me.
See if we can do this.
It's not that one. Let me see here. We got 5.
Is it working for you?
How about now?
Is it working for you?
And
Try it again.
so we got 1.
We're all figuring out all the
I feel like
technical things here.
you should be on. I don't understand why I can't hear you.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
How about now? Is it working? You got me?
You know what? You can just come take my seat, sir.
Here, you can take my seat. How about that? Come on,
I
man.
gotta switch. I'm in the middle there.
No, you're good right here.
I should be able to hear you. I turned on every mic.
Should be 135, she said.
Yep, I turned on one and I can't hear him.
And no worries. Is this working here?
There you go. Yeah, that's on. That's good.
There you go.
135. Okay. So we got Deacon T Hot Topics. Once again, you guys remember to hit up Jeff if you guys want some more information about the market, about housing, or consultation on business in general. But right now, we got Deacon T's Hot Topics. You already know Modern Word Ministries every Sunday. Let's go, Deacon T. What's happening? What's the topic, bro?
So here's the word for today. And the title is going to be Biology Doesn't Dictate Love. You know, I've been doing some research, and when you look into what Jesus said about children and about our responsibilities to children, specifically to love them and take care of them, and in Matthew, he said that, you know, if you take care of one of these, meaning the children, you're taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
there are 400,000 children in foster care in the United States today. There are about 200,000 of them who are up to be adopted. Of the 200,000, and there are roughly 140,000 adoptions a year, which, if you just keep rolling
is
that
that in
over,
America?
that's in the United States.
Okay.
There's many more in the
Right,
world.
around the world, right.
But if you keep doing that math, the number of children looking to be adopted keeps growing. And here's some facts that are just troubling to me. First, if you're not a baby and the further away from being an infant you become, the statistically significantly less likely you are to be adopted.
Wow.
If you become a teenager, it is most likely you will what they call age out, which means depending on what state you're in, you will stay in that foster system or in the orphanage until you're 18 or 21. You get a couple of months of counseling and a little bitty check, and you go out and prove yourself.
You go out into the world.
Unprepared.
Yeah.
Here's another frightful fact, depending on who you believe.
Mm-hmm.
A vast, disproportionate percentage of the children who are in foster care not adopted are black or brown.
Wow.
I'm going to repeat that
Right.
for all of our urban listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Black or brown.
Huge percentage.
IC knows this. I have 3 children, all 3 adopted.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest daughter, who's 17 now, we adopted right after she turned 16. We brought her into our home when she was 15 and a half by happenstance. That's not the subject for today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk to IC about actually bringing her down. We'll talk about this someday.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm just reaching out to everybody who can hear this message because the need for adoptive parents is huge.
Man.
These little children, through no fault of their own, they just got unlucky. Things happen to their parents. Things happen.
Right.
And they go into the system, and if they're older, the fact is they just don't get out.
Nope.
And the system tries to do its best job. I will tell you the system is not perfect. In fact, the system is very flawed because the system can't handle the volume. And the system is underfunded. And the system is bureaucratic. And there are just a number of things. And, my daughter was just a little girl looking for somebody to love her. And she was looking for somebody to be her mom and be her dad.
Yeah.
She wasn't looking for anything special.
Talking about Oriana?
I'm talking about Oriana.
Okay.
Hey, baby, love you if you're listening. You're probably not listening because you're playing some dang video game. That's
app.
another story. Some app, exactly. But it's just, I didn't know anything, and it wasn't because I was a cold, callous, didn't care guy. I was a stupid guy who didn't know any better.
But we're unaware.
Unaware.
Until
I mean,
somebody
I thought,
like you says it right now.
Yeah, and I had no idea that A, there were so many children, that B, many foster families, foster parents, it's a profession, and they do it as a job. And I suppose it's better to be in a foster home than an orphanage. But when it's a profession and not a calling, you just don't love these kids. You know, you take care of them. You provide 3 hots and a cot, much like prison, and you provide a dry roof, but it isn't loving, it isn't nurturing, it isn't developmental. And what I have learned as a result of bringing this little girl, not a little girl, this young woman into our home is how much need there is out there for you and you and you and you and you. And people say to me, what in the world were you thinking? Some old dude adopting some teenager? You out of your mind?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm out of my mind in love with this little girl. Yeah. We didn't know her. We had no idea what was going on.
Right.
We saw her. God spoke to us. God spoke to my wife first, and we went out and did this deal. And I would tell you, no matter how much I do for my daughter for the rest of my life, it will be nothing compared to what she has done for me just in the last 2 years.
Wow.
She's
changed
phenomenal.
your life, bro.
She changed my life. I mean, each one of my children changed my life.
Right.
I was an older guy when I got married.
But they all have a certain thing they did at that time
Correct.
in your life to
Correct.
help
My
you.
my son did something when he came along. Carly, my middle child and my oldest daughter, she worked me. I had no idea how to deal with girls. Okay, I'm stating it right here. If you never had girls and then you get one, as a dad, you're done, bro. Just quit now. It's easier. But each one of them taught me so much about how to love somebody, and taught me how to get out of myself. And I'm just here, today to really encourage everyone. Look into fostering, look into adopting. It doesn't make any difference how old you are, how old these children are. They need us. They are innocent little people who, for whatever reason, ended up in the system. And I can't emphasize enough the size of the need out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Is
real.
there a certain company you went through?
No, actually, there's a show on. I'm going to put the plug in.
Okay.
Channel 3, Reed Cowan.
Yeah, that's the story. I remember you told me.
Channel 3, Reed Cowan, every Wednesday on the evening news at 6:30, does a segment called Wednesday's Child.
Yes.
And Wednesday's Child features children who are in the foster care system who are hard to adopt. And the reason they're hard to adopt, generally speaking, falls into one of 3 categories. 1, they're older. 2, they have special needs of some sort. Or 3, it's a multiple sibling adoption. So you'd have to adopt 3 brothers or 4 children all at one time. They don't want to split the kids up.
Yeah.
Very hard to do.
Right.
Very hard to do.
Yeah.
You will see on that show children who look wonderful and like they're having fun and life is good and what have you.
Yeah.
Because that's how it looked when I saw Oriana's video.
Right.
And I sat there, and when I first saw the video, I actually started to cry.
Okay.
Because I said, how can this beautiful little 15-year-old girl, who's so bubbly and fun,
Right.
not be adopted? This
Right.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And
It's okay, bro.
then I found out the backstory, right?
Okay.
And it's each one of these children has a backstory, and I will tell you, the longer you're in
The more
the
deep
system,
the story is.
the deeper your story gets.
Yeah.
My daughter was in there for 10 years. It isn't good. It isn't good for anyone
Right.
to be anywhere institutionalized.
Right.
But particularly you think about during your developmental years. She went in when she was 6
Yeah.
and got out when she was almost 16.
Right.
You learn all about your place, your values, what's important to you,
In all those years.
who you are,
Yes.
who you ain't, who you are to other people,
Yes.
how other people treat you, mistreat you, take advantage of you. Yeah, man. And
So
it's not cool.
wait. Talk to the people about being a great, heartfelt foster parent and not no pedophile.
Yeah. I would,
No beater.
yeah, right.
Physical abuse.
Absolutely.
Talk to them about that. 'Cause
Absolutely.
People get kids and they do that, but they still getting the check because the kid don't know if they should speak or not because they got a roof over their head and a meal. But talk to them people, bro.
Absolutely. It is an unfortunate piece of life
Okay.
that people, all of us, to one level or another, are opportunists. You know, if I like gambling, I'll go to a spot where I can gamble. If I like drinking, I hang out at bars. If I like children, I'll be a Boy Scout leader.
Right.
Note to self.
Right.
If I like children, maybe I'll go and become a foster parent. And unfortunately, you know, despite the best efforts of the system, they just can't weed them all out. And unfortunately, a lot of it goes on.
Okay.
A lot of it goes on. And I would just tell you, because it's not my business to tell her business,
Yeah.
but I will tell you this. When we adopted our daughter, right before we actually met her, we had never met her.
Right.
Because they don't want you to meet, and then they get their hopes up, and you
Right.
aren't disqualified or
Yeah.
whatever. And we were not fostering.
Right.
We were adopting.
Yeah.
But in this state and in many states, there's a 6-month waiting period where the child has to go into your home and then be there for 6 months before you can legally adopt, unless you're blood relative.
Okay.
And so we knew almost nothing about Oriana until we were approved to adopt, just a week or so before we actually adopted.
Okay.
We actually had her come to the house. And they said to me, well, you know, Tom, this is great, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be the first adult male in her life that hasn't wanted something from her.
Wow.
And I said, what does that mean? And they looked at me with like a little funny
Right.
face. And then I said, I don't want to hear all that.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm here to tell you, because we only got about a minute or so. But I want to tell you this. And the reason I'm doing this on the Deacon T Hot Topic
Yes,
section,
Sir. Yes, sir.
God was very clear about how we're supposed to treat our children.
Yes.
And I don't mean my children. I'm talking about our children, meaning the community.
Yes.
And I'm putting a plea out to everyone out there who's hearing this. There are children that need your help. You think you can't afford it, you can afford it. There are systems and programs that help you, that pay you stipends, that take care of the medical and the bills and that to help the children. They need a loving, caring, nurturing home for every children. For every child needs this, deserves it, is entitled to it. They didn't get born. They were born,
Right,
you know?
right.
And they didn't ask to be put in this situation. They got put in it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I would just say this to you. God was clear. I'm real clear. I want you to think about it. Check out Wednesday's Child. If you got questions, you don't know where to go, you can call me.
Right.
702-497-4002. Or you can hit me up on Sundays. You can hit me up on Facebook, Deacon Tom Moore. 10 a.m. on Sundays. We'll be doing that word and be breaking something off for you. Amen?
Hey, man, I thank everybody for tuning in to Hot Seat with Icy Jones. I'm glad to be back. Hot 7025 in the building. And I'm going to leave y'all with this good old commercial break. I will see y'all next week. Same spot, same seat. Hot Seat with Icy Jones. And I'm out.
So I fostered 4 and adopted
How come it's not playing from my office?
So,
14-year-old. She was 14 when I adopted.
Here in Vegas?
You can't be
you've been in the system for how long?
XS
She was in the
Ink
system
Tattoo.
from 9.
We do
Girl went to
everything
first
in
grade, first
excess.
day,
Body
then her
ink
mother didn't
and
come back.
piercings.
So
Dermal
her dad-
piercing
And then she did come back to her
$50. Palm size portrait tattoos. You can't beat the price of $300 at XS Ink Tattoo. Phone number 702-333 1449. That's 702-333-1449. Find them on Facebook, Instagram at XS Ink Tattoo. You can email them at info@xsinktattoo.com. Find them online at xsinktattoo.com. They're open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Let them know Icy Jones sent you. xsinktattoo.com. Visit them online or go see them in person. 8525 Southeastern in Green Valley, Las Vegas, Nevada. By the way, all of your piercings come with jewelry, so you don't have to worry at XS Ink Tattoo and Body Piercings.